Kiesza, good morning to you. Thanks for getting up early today.
Good morning. We're just happy to be here.
You know, that Letterman performance, whose idea was that? Just to take the creative from the Hideaway video and sort of recreate it. That was awesome.
It's always like a hybrid between like the kind of core team. And I don't know. I think it was like myself, my choreographer, my producer. I don't know, the whole team basically. We all just sort of talked.
Carson freaked out when he saw it. He was talking about how great it was. And then you were on Jimmy Kimmel and did another one.
They did like the New York version of it, kind of the LA version of it, where they bring the Steadicams out on Hollywood Boulevard and Kiesza and your dancers are cruising. And
there was a fire
you can just tell when somebody's live, like when somebody's doing that, it just separates all the wrath of like every night there's a late night show and everybody's new and everybody's amazing and everybody's got a buzz and everybody's number 10 with a bullet and all that. But like, there's been a lot of just early, nice groundswell about young Kiesza here from our friends in the Great White North. You're from Calgary originally.
The Great White North.
Me and my friend Kent drove in college when we were 18 to Calgary for Stampede.
Really?
When you could drink there.
I'm happy you know about the Stampede.
You could drink in Calgary at 18.
That's
so we're like,
wins.
hey, where do you want to go for the long weekend? Where can you drink when you're 18?
Calgary.
We drove like 36 hours.
Oh my God.
But we had such a great time in your home city. But tell me a little bit about just your background. I mean, would love to get to know you a little bit.
Well, I'm Canadian. Like the background from like my life story, the whole.
How'd you get into? So you're from Calgary, but when did you start singing and writing music? Is something that you've always done, or a little bit later in your life?
I started out wanting to be a ballerina from the age of 3 to 15.
You're a great dancer. That makes
totally
sense.
That movie story where I got an injury and then I had to give it up, and I thought my life was over.
Right.
And then I decided to become a sailor, and then I became.
She's not kidding. You were in the Navy, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, I was sailing like small vessels first and teaching on sailboats.
I love this story.
And racing, and then I joined the Navy, yes, and then I won Top Shot in the Navy. So they were like looking at me as a sniper.
What is Top Shot? Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I didn't want to be a sniper. Like shooting's fun on like the shooting range, but I didn't ever want to shoot people.
But you had a good eye for it.
Apparently,
Wow.
yeah.
How do you have so many talents?
How do you go from being a ballerina to being a sniper? To a sniper?
It takes a couple years, but it happens.
You are badass.
Thank you.
And so, thank you for your service. I don't know what to say to that.
It's not your country, so.
But still, anybody who serves, I have great affection for. I know she gave out like a bunch of like CDs to troops and things like that. Like I know it's.
Yeah, when I first started songwriting, I had a radio station in Calgary. It was like another crazy story. There was this non-existent radio that hypothetically might exist one day, and I found an email of somebody who was supposed to be involved. And radio stations in Canada give grants out to musicians. So I sent an email and said, hey, if you ever do exist one day and happen to give out grants, here's my music. And like a couple of years later, while I was in music school, it would have been like a year later actually, I got a phone call random on a really bad day, and somebody's like, yeah, we have $10,000 for you to make a CD. And so I was like, what?
That is like writing a message in a bottle and throwing it out in the ocean, and a year later someone's like, I got your bottle, bro. Here's your life opportunity.
It was totally like that. Like I just figured no one, and I didn't even know it was the right email, but
in the email she put P.S. I'm a sniper. So
yeah.
3 to 15 ballerina, injury 15, life's over, no, Navy, snipe shooting, code cracking, love music. Message in a bottle, fake radio station becomes a real radio station.
So from that,
music's good.
So from that, I made a CD, and then it was like the most schizophrenic CD ever. It had like pop, funk, like big band, like orchestra, fully orchestrated.
Yeah, but
like
it showed your early appreciation for that diversity of music that makes up your music now.
Oh, thank you. I really like the album. I have to dig it up and find it again. So I didn't know where to send it, and I didn't have an audience, so I just sent it to the Navy or to the military, and the military sent off about almost 5,000 copies to all the soldiers fighting in Afghanistan.
That's
amazing. My
you.
entire
That's
fan
awesome.
base was military soldiers in Afghanistan.
Good for you.
It's a good fan base to have, yeah.
I actually got a really interesting inside look into what was really going on there.
I'm sure,
they're emailing me and stuff.
You are the most fascinating woman alive. There's no doubt about that. And then you went to Berkeley, the School of Music in Boston for a bit. You did some time in New York, London. How old? What are you, 50? I mean, you've lived a life of...
Half that.
Yeah, you're like 25 years old.
That's insane.
It is insane. My mind is
I've
blown.
done nothing in my life. Nothing.
It makes me realize what a crappy story Katy Perry has now. What does she ever do?
Was never a sniper.
No.
Don't even know if she knows.
No one's
ballet.
got any of this. Taylor Swift went right from like 8th grade to making hit records.
She dated 27 guys and then she made a record, right? Very different.
Kiesza could break down what it's like to be in Afghanistan and the life of a you know what I mean? That's a whole other side. Is your writing of music,
far away.
When you sit down to write, what motivates you since you have such a diverse background?
It depends. Like, I used to actually use a lot of like military references, metaphors for my songs, or sailing references. I definitely drew from my history, but now, I mean, my music is definitely, it taps into like the emotions that I feel, and like, you know, the love stories that I go through and stuff. But metaphorically speaking, I definitely draw from every aspect of my life.
What would be an example of a metaphor? Like I broke, my heart is broken on the bow.
That's the best you can do?
I don't know. Like, what would it be? What's a metaphor?
I have one song that I wrote once, and it was so metaphorical that I forgot what it was about.
That's like something RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan would say.
Right? And like to this day, I'm like,
what was that about?
Like it was
about?
like,
what was I hiding under
like
metaphors?
that piece of art is so awesome that it
wine.
sucks.
I have no idea what it's about.
It's so expensive and awesome that it's just terrible.
Yeah, it was called Warlocks and Wine.
Yeah. We are talking to Kiesza, who you need to know if you don't already, and if you listen to our radio station, and we're proud to say I think we were pretty early on Hideaway, your song, which I just want to play now because I think we've had a nice little chat, and now if you're listening in your car on your way to work, I'm going to play your big song, and then we'll come back and we'll chat a little bit more. And we'll bring this. It's so good to have you here this morning. She had a big show
to be here.
at the Roxy last night. We'll talk about that.
You.
But for now, here's Hideaway Kiesza live on AMP Radio at 8:17.
Taking me higher than I've ever been before.
Carson Daly.
Oh, man. Hey. Yeah. You know what I mean? Hey. How you doing? Wow. Nice job. Thank you very much. Oh, that was great. You're soaking wet, for heaven's sakes. How about that, Paul?
That was the greatest.
Wow, that was lovely.
I mean, I enjoyed that high praise from Letterman. It's Kiesza live on AMP Radio, and
men are very excited.
He was swooning over you as you were sitting there dripping wet because he went outside the Ed Sullivan Theater and he came back in.
Bathed at a fire hydrant.
That's right.
But he loved you, and I love that he loved you because it's just cool to see an old man love good new musicians on the way up. I was proud of him for that. Excellent job there. And Kiesza joins us now. So you did the show last night at the Roxy. I know all the cool kids came out, as I told you when you walked in. There's a lot of buzz about you. Just where's the record? Where are we with an album?
It's coming out in October. It's October 21st, I think, is the actual day.
You just finished it up, right? Like this weekend?
Literally like 3 days. No, yeah, I think we got the final mix yesterday, or even today we're getting the final master in. So
if people like this song Hideaway, is the record sort of indicative of that, or is it?
There's like, I'd say 4 dance songs or 5 or something. So there's a lot of this vibe, but then there's a lot of like other stuff too. Right. So there's about 12 songs on the album.
Tell me about this song I found.
Giant in My Heart. You found it.
Oh, yeah. Come on. You can't walk into my radio studio.
That's the cool, like, underground track right now.
Of course it is.
All the cool kids know about.
That's right. You know where you're at.
You're a cool kid, Carson.
Am I a cool kid now? That's the nicest thing anybody said to me in over a year.
You are cool.
I do love the song.
Yeah, that's Giant in My Heart. So I wrote that after Hideaway, literally.
Who's the male voice on this that comes in here in a minute?
You know, I've never actually met him. My friend Tiago, who was my roommate when we were making the album. Yeah, we were like, I need a voice of like an older, like,
it almost sounds like a sample.
Black guy. And then, you know, that soulful, like, old man voice. And then my friend's like, I know someone. So we just send it to him and he brings it back and this is the voice. And we're like, awesome.
Awesome voice. It's a great song. All right, so October's the record. What's the tour now? Is this all just kind of promotional tour? Is it just...
Yeah. Right now, definitely, because the song has just started really, like, picking up in the U.S. And I've been doing Europe like crazy all summer. Literally, I've just been in a different country practically every other day. So now that things are sort of building up here, I've been over here sort of doing the whole promo thing and performing. Like, I'm a big part of who I am as a live performer. So really trying to get that kicked off as well. So
when you perform, one of the things that I noticed is because the 2 performances, the Letterman and the Jimmy one, Kimmel, were both so kinetic, because you're all over the place.
You.
But you, like Beyonce was the only other example of somebody that is able to have so much movement on stage, but really hold their vocal to the
Yeah,
recorded
she's amazing.
version.
She's so
And
amazing.
you're really amazing. Your voice is
you.
incredible as much as you're dancing in the stage show and the music. So it's really a nice package.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot of work, and you have to want to do it. It seems like this sort of magical career, but it's being a live act, a musician, is a lot of work, and early hours, late hours, and you have to sort of be crazy, and you have to really just be passionate about it and want to do it to do it well because of what it requires of you.
What does your family think about what's happened to you just even in the last 6 months or a year?
They're really like kind of shocked and excited. They really have been supportive and always believed in me, but now they're just sort of like kind of like confused that it's actually happening. And trying to like just be as supportive as possible. My whole family came out.
I mean, you stick with music for a while. You're going to move on to something like you've gone from a sailor to.
What do you mean? What do you think she's going to go fight ISIS right now?
I don't
She's
know.
gonna-
Look at, she's done everything.
She's gonna re-enlist?
She's 25. She's
I
done
am
a million
becoming
things.
a surrealist painter, which I am an oil
Told you.
painter, but I've been like really exploring surrealism, and so I and photography. I've been layering photography on like Photoshop to make this really abstract art. So I was thinking of having.
She's the most interesting human being alive.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I'm dyslexic, so apparently that has something to do with it.
Hey, wherever you are on the spectrum, sweetheart, you are high.
Thank you.
You're doing great.
Impressive.
So I might have a gallery exhibit eventually. I'll show you some of my artwork after.
I'd like to see it. Kiesza, get her on your radar. Download the music. Look for the record in October.
October
and if you
21st.
have an opportunity to see her live, we'll get the dates. We'll support all your stuff through
Thank
ampradio.com. Next time you're in LA, please come back.
Oh, I'll be back.
Do you have a lot of friends here in LA?
I do actually, because I actually just before I wrote the day I wrote Hideaway, I was on a flight to LA to like move to LA, and then I ended up writing the song, like coming up with the song as I was leaving for the airport when Rami, my producer, started making the beat. Just for
when
fun.
you were on your way to LA?
Yeah, I was supposed
Because it
to
is
be
the
leaving
worst
the
city to
studio
try and hide away, I got to be honest.
I was leaving the studio in New York to go to the airport to catch a plane to LA, but as I was about to leave, Rami starts making this beat, the Hideaway beat, and I was like, that's great.
Right.
So I went back in and just laid down the Hideaway melody because it kind of popped into my head, and then ended up just writing the whole song in like under an hour, and the whole thing was like literally written, recorded, mixed, and mastered in 90 minutes.
That's awesome.
So before I even got to the airport, which somehow I still magically made my flight, the whole song was complete.
Unbelievable.
She completed a hit song on the way to the
Yeah,
airport.
that's how they do it. That's how the kids do it these days, Ange.
Yeah, and then I moved to LA.
You saw the commercial for like Dr. Dre's in the
Yes,
plane
I did.
making a song?
That
It
was
was sort
still
of like
Dre.
that.
Right.
And then I moved to LA, I got an apartment, and then I got a phone call like, I think you should come back to New York. I think we have something here. So I had to I lived in LA for maybe a month, and then I had to rent out my apartment for an entire year. And I ended up moving back to New York quickly, and then actually moving to the UK where we launched the project.
And then you went over and killed Osama bin Laden? Is that when that happened?
Thank you for
That
that,
wasn't
by the
me.
way.
Is that when you climbed into the hole and found Saddam Hussein and used your
That was-
Navy sniper
She
skills?
did that in an hour. Like,
yeah, that. Oh,
Listen, you're fascinating.
thank you.
I'm going to let you
You're
go.
fascinating.
It's well, thank you. Not really,
No,
but I
no,
appreciate
not
you
for
saying
you.
that. We're big fans and know that you have a home here in Los Angeles on Amp Radio.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Kiesza, everybody. Follow her at Kiesza and check out Kiesza.com for all the information on the record coming out in October. Thanks for getting up.
Thank you.